Hi, it's your host, Dr. Dequies. Welcome to We Speak Podcast, where we cover everything women's empowerment. Check it out. Kavita is the CEO of Vibes Tribes, a wellness community designed for women in midlife. Vibes Tribe offers wellness classes from yoga and breathwork to holistic health alongside affirmation products designed to uplift and empower. Beyond the community, Kavita is committed to making a greater impact, supporting mental health initiatives for women through nonprofit partnerships. Her mission is to help women navigate midlife with confidence, vitality, and a strong sense of community. Aside from wellness, she is passionate about helping entrepreneurs succeed. With over 15 years of experience in mergers and acquisitions, entrepreneurship, and consulting, she has a proven track record of growing and selling businesses. Kavita's goal is to empower people to live healthier and happier lives and to work with like-minded entrepreneurs who want to positively impact the world. All right, welcome to We Speak Podcast, Kavita. How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing really well, I am so grateful to have you here in the studio, and we appreciate you being here to empower women. And so to do that, I would love to just start with your journey and just how you became the founder of Vibes Tribe, excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I started actually my career in finance. So I used to be an investment banker, and then I just got to this period of burnout. And I was not one of those people who was really into a lot of different natural modalities, but I found that I felt awful in the sense that I had extreme brain fog. I was always tired. And the medical professionals would say, well, your blood work looks normal, like everything is fine. And so I think that was my first step into exploring other natural modalities. And being Indian, it felt like yoga and Ayurveda were sort of a natural place to start looking. And so I did. I kind of dove deep. I started to feel so good. I went ahead and got certified in like a bunch of different modalities: yoga, Ayurveda, aromatherapy, optimal nutrition. I kind of just went all in because I think the goal kind of shifted from me from just making money to really it being about, I really want to feel good. So it was no longer about looking a certain way or being perceived in a certain way. It was about actually just feeling really good, like feeling vibrant, feeling energetic, feeling joy, that sort of shift. And through my journey, I felt like I really had to seek out these tools. And so that was the beginning of Vibes Tribe, in that I wanted to create a platform where women who were struggling with any amount of anxiety or lack of self-love or trauma, or wanted to explore natural modalities, could find the teacher that best served them and then learn in sort of a very supportive and safe community.
Yeah, awesome. I will say this. I think that you're speaking to me too, as you're speaking to these women, because as I started my career and the path and journey that I was on, I won't say that I wasn't operating in what I love to do with pouring into people, being in the higher ed space, pouring into students and their journey. That's still near and dear to my heart. But I will say that I found out along that journey that I was fitting within a mold of that particular culture, for lack of a better way to put it, even though higher ed isn't corporate, really. People who are in the corporate world and feel like they have to, present corporate. And you said something about it not being about how you, looked when you showed up, but how you feel. And I resonate with that very, very strongly at this point in my journey, and just how I built, my company here, that I don't really like to come in all suited and booted. Like, that's just really not, I guess, unique to who I am. And there are moments in life where we do have to kind of show up in certain rooms a certain way because of just that environment. But I really believe in being authentic in who we are and what we truly desire at our heart space to do. So thank you for just sharing that and setting women free to believe that, it's more so about your joy. It's more so about how you feel. Relieving that sense of showing up to be presented and fit into a particular culture or world and just being what you were meant to be in this world, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this: what do you feel is important for midlife women to consider when practicing yoga?
So I think one of the biggest things when practicing yoga, which to me was one of the most powerful tools in helping to really reconnect me to, I think, my authentic self.
Mhm,
And the most important thing is it's not about doing. So often people think about yoga and they think about the different poses but yoga is really about this reconnection to yourself, and
mhm,
it's about being. So it's this shift from always feeling like I have to do or look or be a certain way to just doing. So I've been in yoga classes and even taught yoga classes where I've had women who just came and sat and they didn't do any of the poses and they just sat and breathed. And that is
yeah,
yoga just as much as the lady doing downward dog next to them. Like it's all yoga. It's
mhm,
about shifting from
mm,
this expectation of doing to just honoring what feels good to you and your body in that moment,
mhm,
and really just returning to your life force and your breath and
yeah,
grounding with just that. It's really not about handstand. I can't even do a headstand. I've been doing yoga for years. Like it's just it's not about the poses you see. It's about reconnecting to your breath, to your intuition, to yourself, in a way that's, I think, really beautiful, especially as women approach their midlife, because I think at that point we're in such a general sense of doing, right? We've just been kind of programmed to be, caring at that point for other people, whether it's children, older parents, different career. A lot of times I think there's a lot of midlife career shifts that happen as people start to
mhm,
feel unaligned.
yeah,
And so we're just in this constant doing. And so yoga gives us this moment to pause.
mm,
And I think that
mhm,
that pause is so very important. And then if you do the different positions and some of the postures that have been sort of, for years and years practiced with a lot of thoughtfulness put behind them, it also does help maintain flexibility and bone density and all the other things that are required.
yeah. Yeah, no, and I'm glad that you gave a breakdown because I do think so many people hear yoga and they assume flexibility and all of these different poses, and that's really one of the other questions that I have for you today with women who are just battling, life changes and inducing high level anxiety, but they just don't feel confident to pursue yoga. And maybe it's because of the fear of being able to be flexible enough to do that. So, can you elaborate just a little bit more about women who have this anxiety? They feel burnout is one more thing they feel like they have to do or learn or get a grasp of. How would you tell them to kind of get started?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, when I first started, I couldn't sit still. The idea of meditation felt like nails on a chalkboard. So I completely understand how it can feel so
Mhm.
overwhelming to have it be like, oh, great, that's another thing I have to do on top of my hydration goals and everything else going
It
on.
is.
But the truth is, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be in any particular way. It can be as simple as you taking a mat in your room and spending 5 minutes doing a couple poses. And really, the point is to tune in and see, does it work for you? Because I'm not saying yoga is for everyone,
Mhm.
right? In the same way that running is not for everyone, right? There's going to be different things. And so the idea is to approach it with some curiosity. Like, can I do a couple poses? And if I feel anxious about being in a studio, can I do it guided online? And if I have limited mobility, can I try starting with chair yoga or yoga nidra, which is just something you do a couple poses before bed, and just approach it with that curiosity of like, how do I feel? Do I feel better?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
usually if it's for you, you will feel better. So I think the biggest thing is people just sort of think, well, it's not going to work. Right.
Mhm.
Or, oh,
Mhm.
I'm too tired. I'm too overwhelmed. And again, the words that we say are important to ourselves. It's the stories that we tell ourselves in the programming. And so I always tell women in that stage of, especially when they're feeling overwhelmed or demotivated, whatever you have it in that burnout feeling of just like, I can't take one more, is why don't we just shift our priority to, my goal is to feel amazing. I
Yeah.
deserve and I should at every age and stage feel amazing. I think we have, as a society, programmed everyone to think it's okay to be stressed, tired, um, all the many things, especially as we age. It's really just become this like, oh, well, it's just because you're getting older. No, I mean, I remember my grandmother at 80 was vibrant and full of life and energetic, right? So if we shift to, okay, if my goal is, I really want to feel amazing every single day. I want to feel vibrant. I want to feel joy. I want to feel love, all the things. What is one thing I can do today in that direction?
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's just that one small thing, and the other thing I had, recommend people do is kind of create like an energy log. So just as you go through the day, whether it's a note in your phone, start to log. Like I got up, I brushed my teeth, energy up or down. I walked by my husband, energy up or down.
Mhm.
I made
Yeah.
breakfast. I
Yeah.
ate it up or down, right? Like every little thing you can think about. And every time energy is down, think about, is it something I can eliminate? Is it something I can replace with something that could potentially energize me? But it's really just about taking small steps of care and approaching it with curiosity. Is this getting me closer to my goal of feeling amazing?
Mhm. 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 What I hear you saying is women just kind of being very self-reflective in the moment of observing their energy levels. And when I think of this and I kind of come back into, our world and all the different layers and identities that women wear, whether they are in their career doing certain things, whether they are dominantly at home taking care of home, whether they are mothers or caregivers to their parents, how do they take back a sense of control of the things that are important to them, that brings them the joy that you talked about, because we can't always completely eliminate all of life's roles and responsibilities. That's just not reality. We're in this world and we're going to have to face things in this world, but trying to find that synergy of what still fuels us and makes us feel good. When you were hitting burnout, what did you feel at that point was like the end all be all moment? You know what I mean? Like the moment that you said, no more, this can't keep going this way, or I'm really going to just crash. Because I want women to understand not that they have to just keep taking on another role and taking on another identity and just power through because, oh, I'm a woman and this is a part of it.
Yeah, I think it wasn't like one particular moment. I think it was a series of things that happened that I just realized I was not happy and I wasn't I was it wasn't just that I was like a mood happy, like I physically my body wasn't happy, emotionally I wasn't happy. And so the first thing that happened was I got a raise, which normally would make people very happy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there was this huge layoff. They kept a couple of us and gave us more money, and I was just like devastated.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I just felt like I didn't, even though this was a job, my dream job, it's what I had always wanted to do, which was work in private equity. I felt so exhausted and so tired that it brought me zero joy. And so I just kind of took that as like information, like um, why do I feel this way? Shouldn't I be so happy? Shouldn't I be so flattered? But I didn't. And then I remember coming home and talking to my son, and I said something, and he goes, "Let me guess." And it was like in the morning. He's like, "Let me guess, you're tired." And I was like, "Oh, great. That's like," and it was several times that had happened. And I was like, "Oh, wow. I'm known as the tired mom. That's not how I want to be remembered. And that's definitely not how my mom was. She was always full of energy." And another moment, remember sitting in my car and there's like post-it notes everywhere because I couldn't remember anything. It was like, pick up your kid, pick up the, like, it's like, what's wrong with my brain? I'm too young uh,
Yeah.
to be this crazy. And so I think it was just this moment of, I really am so unhappy. I'm so emotionally unhappy. I'm so physically unhealthy. I don't feel good, even in moments that should bring me joy. And I needed a change. And so for me, it ended up being very drastic. I kind of rage, Jerry Maguire, quit my job and started
Yeah.
this journey of
Yeah.
self reflection into all these different modalities because I think growing up, my goal was always financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I just always wanted to know that I was going to be financially secure. My dad's job was always, he was always worked for other companies, so there was always that risk of losing job, which happened a couple times, and I remember that being really scary. And so, for a long time, it was just financial independence was the goal.
Yeah.
And then once it was, I can't say achieved because it's not like I never had to work again. But once I felt like, oh, I've got this dream job making all this money, but I'm like, this actually isn't what it is. It's about feeling really good. It's about feeling
Yeah.
joy. Those are the things that should
Mm-hmm.
be what you're striving for.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just kind of making that shift. And once you can kind of accept that that's the shift or that's truly what you want, you will align yourself to make it happen.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I'm glad that you know, kind of detail that for women because I think so many, like I said, they wear all these different identities and they don't allow themselves the freedom to dream or believe that there's a different reality. It's just like, oh, well, I'm a mom. Oh, well, I have to go to work because I have to eat and I have to pay the bills. Oh, well, you know, I have to take care of my elderly parent because XYZ. And so it's just responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. And I don't see how I change that reality. And, you know, I want them to hear, as you just very beautifully explained, that it really is coming back to your center and understanding what makes you happy. Because the reality is, like you said, you not yet, at least, because we can maybe claim that for later, but you not yet are in a place where you're just not working. Like, I still have to work, right? I still have to,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
do things. I still have to take care of my family. But there is a way to do this where I feel fulfilled. There is a way to do this where I'm not waking up just feeling like, oh my gosh, I just don't like this. I just hate this. I just hate this. There's a way to get up every day feeling secure within yourself
That's right.
and not necessarily having to rely on just, you know, the roles and responsibilities to feel secure. I can feel secure by going after what it is my heart truly desires. And in order to do that, I have to come back to my center. And that's, you know, in essence, what I feel like you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I do think again, yoga is that tool. But now I have 3 kids. I care for an elderly parent, a dog, all the things. And so I think we can quickly say, "Oh, I have this and this," and this is where the words are really important and the stories we tell ourselves. And instead of being like, "Oh, I have to do this," it's like, "I get to do this."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's my honor to do this. And then
Yeah.
put boundaries. I mean, whether that's around kids, like if you're truly unhappy with the responsibilities, then maybe that's because there's a lack of boundaries that need to be placed. And that's
Yeah.
why I think there's that awareness of like, oh, my kid or the parent really drives me crazy. Well, can I place some boundaries of what I'm willing to do and not willing to do and just hold strong to that to be able to
Mhm.
keep my joy and vibrancy?
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad that you mentioned boundaries. I think that's one of my biggest ones. I can get to a place where my boundaries become so important to me because I know naturally I'll give and I'll give and I'll give of myself. And I don't say that in a proud way at all because here's my second statement behind that. Then I'll resent. so so, you know, you can you have to take accountability for that, and so I'm glad that you said that because sometimes we don't feel like we're allowed or have the permission to create boundaries, especially with family, because we feel like that is another responsibility or duty we have to have, that "Oh, I have to do this." And there are ways even within that to outline, "Okay, am I doing this at the complete sacrifice of myself where I'm not even going to be able to, in a healthy way, continue to show up?" So I think this is really great, Kavita. Any final words that you have for the ladies before we wrap this up?
Yeah, no, I would just say, to that point, when you model boundaries, you model it for your children so that they too have boundaries one day. I always, whenever
Mm,
I'm with my kids and we're trying to figure out something to do, and they'll always be like, I want to do this. I'm like, okay, don't forget, somebody has to ask me, what would I
yeah,
like? And my happiness matters too. And I hope that when you're older, that is true for you as well. So I think
love
that's
it, love it.
really, really important. And as far as like wisdom to leave someone with is, I think we've for too long normalized not feeling amazing.
Yeah.
We've just normalized not feeling great, and we've instead normalized anxiety and depression and loneliness, and it's not. And I think that if we can shift our goal to be that of true connection to ourselves, to others, to health, that's when we're going to really see major changes in life happen.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kavita, for joining We Sweet podcast. You can come back anytime you like. And if you would, just let the ladies know where they can connect with you offline.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at Vibes Tribe. It's vibestribe.co. I'm sure the link will be below. And I do a live free event every month where we go through a different topic. I think this month we're doing somatic healing, where we bring in an expert and really go through different exercises to see what kind of resonates best with you. So I
Mm-hmm.
invite all of you to join and hope to see you there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for following the We Sweet podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Insta at Dr. Dequies L. It's in the podcast bio. See you ladies soon.